Chapter 4, Seeing Eye-Boy. After school, Julio walked home with Lucas until they reached the street where they always parted. "See you tomorrow," Lucas called after him. Julio shifted his backpack and kept walking. He wondered what things besides chocolate you needed to make brownies. Milk, eggs, sugar, nuts. When he reached the next corner, he saw a boy sitting on the curb. It was Arthur Lewis. "Hey, Arthur," Julio called out. "What are you doing here? Don't you take the bus?" "I couldn't see the numbers on the buses without my glasses," Arthur explained. "So I didn't get on any bus at all. Now I'm probably going to get run over before I get home," Arthur sighed. "I don't want to go home anyhow. My mother is going to be furious." "Don't worry," Julio said. "Tell her that our class is going to raise the money for new glasses." "You tell her," said Arthur. "She won't yell at you." "Why would she yell at you? You didn't break the glasses on purpose." "Oh, you know how mothers are. They always yell," said Arthur. Julio thought Arthur was exaggerating. His own mother hardly ever yelled, but when she told him he had to do his homework before he could watch TV, he knew she meant business. "Please come home with me," said Arthur. "You said you'd be my seeing eye boy." "All right," Julio agreed. In all the years they'd known each other, Arthur had never invited Julio to his house before. "Let's get going. If you usually take the bus, it's going to be a long walk," said Julio. "You're a real pal," said Arthur. The two boys set off. As they walked, Arthur told Julio all the things he was going to buy with his imaginary $1,000,000. He had thought of some things that Julio hadn't, like a ticket to all the football games and a swimming pool in his backyard. "I don't have a backyard, so I can't get a swimming pool," said Julio. "Can I come and swim in yours?" "Sure," said Arthur. "You could come to the football games with me, too." It sounded great until Julio remembered it was all pretend. He felt in his pockets and found a pack of gum. "You want a piece?" he asked Arthur. Arthur shook his head. "My mother doesn't let me chew gum," he said. "It's bad for your teeth." Julio fell around in his mouth with his tongue. His teeth felt okay to him, so he kept on chewing. "You know what, Julio," said Arthur. "I think you'd be a good president for our class." "Me?" said Julio, amazed. How did Arthur guess that he secretly wanted to be class president? "That's crazy," he said. "No, it's not," said Arthur. "I'd vote for you. I bet a lot of kids would. You're always fair, and you're nice to everyone. You always pick me to be on your team, even though I'm rotten at sports." Julio thought about what Arthur had said. He wondered if anyone else would agree with Arthur. Not including his mother, of course. She didn't count, because she couldn't vote. When they reached Arthur's house, Mrs. Lewis was standing outside. "Where were you?" she called to her son. "The bus went by half an hour ago. I was getting very worried." "Mom, this is my friend Julio," Arthur began, but Mrs. Lewis interrupted. "Arthur, where are your glasses? Were you in an accident?" "Arthur fell when we were playing soccer during recess," Julio explained. "He didn't get hurt, but his glasses fell off and the soccer ball bounced on top of them." "I just bought those glasses a week ago," said Mrs. Lewis. "And they're broken already?" "It was an accident," said Julio. "Why were you playing soccer?" asked Mrs. Lewis. "Can't you find some quiet activity for after lunch? You could have gotten a stomachache or broken your leg. I never played soccer once in my life. I don't see why you have to do something like that either." "Oh, Mom," said Arthur, "all the boys play soccer." "Mrs. Lewis," said Julio, "Arthur didn't get a stomachache and he didn't break his leg. Our class is going to have a bake sale to earn money for a new pair of glasses. So you see, there's nothing to worry about." Mrs. Lewis looked at Julio. "I don't think I heard your name," she said. "I'm Julio, Julio Sanchez. I've been in Arthur's class a long time. I knew him even before he wore glasses." "Well, hello, Julio," said Mrs. Lewis. "It was nice of you to walk Arthur home. Come inside and I'll give you boys a snack." Arthur's mom opened the door. There was a smell of something good cooking on the stove. Julio didn't recognize the smell, but he liked it. "Wash your hands," Mrs. Lewis told the boys. Julio was about to say that his hands weren't dirty, but he thought better of it. He didn't want to upset Mrs. Lewis. Julio followed Arthur to the bathroom. It was all blue and white tiles, a blue basin, and even a blue toilet. The toilet paper was a blue and white pattern. The soap was blue, and the towels were blue and white striped. It was like a bathroom in a movie. He spit his gum into the toilet and flushed it away. Back in the kitchen, Mrs. Lewis had poured 2 glasses of milk and set out a plate of cookies. 2 each, she said. I don't want to spoil your suppers. Julio bit into one of the cookies, a soft oatmeal cookie with raisins in it. It was 100 times better than the ones he had eaten at school. These are great, Julio told Mrs. Lewis. Maybe you could make some for the bake sale. When is this sale? Asked Mrs. Lewis. Friday, said Arthur. I can wear my old glasses until then. And no soccer playing, said Mrs. Lewis. Arthur nodded. When they finished their snack, Arthur led the way to his bedroom. He had a big room lined with shelves that were filled with games and toys. Arthur didn't really need $1 million, Julio thought. He had a lot of neat stuff already. Look at this, said Arthur, showing Julio the old kitchen clock. The hands on the clock said 1:15. Julio didn't have a watch, but he knew it had to be after 4. It's got the wrong time, said Julio. Look some more, said Arthur. The second hand is moving backward, said Julio in amazement. Right, said Arthur. Isn't it neat? It got broken, and now it runs the wrong way. My mother was going to throw it out, but I asked her to let me keep it. Every other clock in the world goes in a different direction from mine. Yours runs counterclockwise, said Julio. Right, said Arthur. Sometimes I like things that are different. Julio looked around at Arthur's bedroom. The bedspread matched the curtains. There was a carpet on the floor and many toys. But Arthur's favorite thing was a broken clock. Julio's grandmother always said that it took all kinds of people to make up the world. She said it in Spanish, but it was true in English too. Julio stayed at Arthur's until the counter clock, wise clock, said it was 1:45. Then he walked home slowly. Arthur was sure a funny kid. That's probably why he thought Julio should run for president.